Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, I would like to show to you common mistakes that those who are new in drawing sequence diagram normally do. Okay. Apologize for the in clear images here. Okay, what I want to show here is that let's say for your use case, um, for example, as a shop owner would like to add groceries into the system, right? So normally you have to start it by allowing the shop owner to log in first, right? So you don't have to draw the objects and also the messages for login. Okay, so you don't have to do that. What you need to do is, I believe that you have a sequence diagram for login already, right? So what you need to do is that in the front part here, you can actually create a comment box where you can label the use case diagram for login. Okay, so you can say login, and then you can put the ID for that sequence diagram for login. Okay, so you don't have to repeat it. So you just only have to refer to it in the form of comment box. Okay, um, I believe when you write your use case specification, you have alternative flows, right? Maybe there are more than one, maybe 2 to 5. Alternative flow. It depends on the design that you have, and it depends on the use case specification that you have written. So when you are drawing your sequence diagram, it should, of course, map back to the messages that you have written or steps that you have written in your use case specification. So you should follow that sequence, and then when there is an option that requires you to show alternative flows happen, so you can label it in the form of a comment box also. Make sure whatever that you label here should be the same like the one that you label in your use case specification, right? And for each of the alternative flow that you have, you should create a combined fragment. Okay, for example, you have A3, update of member. So you should have a combined fragment here that is labeled with the same name, and whatever sequence that you design in the use case specification for A3 should be shown in this combined fragment. Alright, another common mistakes that students normally do is that they normally show a very long arrow moving, for example, from the actor straight away to the entity. So you should not be doing that. What you should do is that messages should move from stage to stage, meaning that bit by bit. It should move, for example, from boundary to controller, from controller to entity, and the other way around, meaning that from entity to controller to a boundary. So in this case, for example, we have one boundary, another controller, and two entities. Okay, it has two entities here. Okay, two entities. So what I would like to show to you is this one. Right? Okay, this one. Message 9. So the original arrow was drawn from actor straight away to a controller. So that should not be happening. What you need to do is that you need to do from, for example, the actor, move to the, have the arrow going to a boundary first, in this case, attendance UI, and from attendance UI to the controller. Okay, and also here, message 10 is also like that. Okay, and also with message 14, so you can see the way that the original drawing was from controller straight away to the committee. So you should not be doing that. It should be from controller to the suitable boundary, and from boundary the arrow go to the actor. So message move in stages, meaning that from boundary to controller, controller to entity, and the other way around. Another example related to this is, alright, I've written the messages in Malay. You can also read in Malay. So I want to show here is that this is another use case, another sequence diagram where there is a boundary, a controller, and two entities. Okay, so the way that this is designed is that there is a message that is triggered from entity. Okay, so the original one should, the good one should do like this. The entity should not start by itself. Okay, it should start by the controller. For example, a controller read a message, send a request to the register entity class. Okay, and then from the original drawing is from register straight away to the interface. Okay, so that is wrong. What you should do is that from entity, let's say you have a controller triggered a message to the entity class register, so it's passing back maybe the data. Okay, so from entity it should stop first at the controller, and there is another message from the controller to the entity. Okay, so the other way around also, let's say there is an admin doing an action, it should be done through the interface. Okay, it should stop here first, and then from here there's a message passing to the controller, so it should be stage by stage. And in here you can see there is an alternative flow in this example, right? So when you draw the sequence diagram for the first time, maybe you tend to write the messages in the sentence form. Okay, so for example, set, lucky, lucky, display information. So when you first time doing it, it's fine to write it in the sentence form. Later, when the flow is good, everything is in order, the next thing to do is to change the method, the message into a method name. Okay, for example, receive data registration, things like that. Okay, so when you do that, what will happen is that these messages will be a method within the class. For example, if I have arrow from, for example, message 3 is going into lucky draw controller class or object, so this will become a method within lucky draw controller. Okay, if you have arrow going into that object, that arrow that represent the message will be actually a method within that object. Right, hopefully this guidance can help you in drawing your own sequence diagram. So when you draw your sequence diagram, you can have more than one UI. Okay, you can have more than one boundary. Okay? Or you can have more than one controller. And also the same goes with the entity. You can have more than one. It depends on what information that you are dealing with. All right. Thank you so much.